The Cleveland Browns thought they were building their future. In 2025, they didn't just pick one quarterback, they picked two. Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, two college stars, two shots at solving a franchise puzzle that stumped this team for decades. Add Kenny Pickett to the mix, a 27-year-old former first-rounder trying to resurrect his career. And, of course, the ever-reliable Joe Flacco, still hanging around. But now, less than a year later, it's all being called into question. Could the Browns already be ready to blow it all up? Let's break this down. The 2025 NFL Draft saw Cleveland double-dip at quarterback, drafting Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. It looked like a smart hedge. If one pans out, you found your guy. If both work, even better. But now, a major prediction is shaking the table. Jacob Infante of Pro Football and Sports Network dropped a bombshell. He believes Cleveland will have the #1 overall pick in 2026. And with that pick, they'll take none other than Arch Manning. That's right, that Arch Manning, the kid from Texas, the heir to the Manning throne. Let that sink in. Infante isn't buying the idea that Gabriel or Sanders is a long-term solution. And he's not alone. Despite their talent, neither was a top 10 pick. Neither came with the level of investment teams usually make when they believe they've found their franchise guy. And if you know the Cleveland Browns, and let's be honest, NFL fans have seen this movie before, the quarterback carousel never really stops. Kenny Pickett, who came to Cleveland after a rocky run in Pittsburgh, is reportedly in the mix for the starting job in 2025. So is Joe Flacco, who had a brief resurgence late last season. That leaves 4 quarterbacks on the table for the Browns. But if the team crashes and burns this season and ends up with the worst record in the league, all bets are off. Infante argues that Cleveland would be smart to take a swing at a true franchise QB, and Arch Manning might be just that. But there's a catch. Manning isn't guaranteed to declare for the 2026 draft. In fact, most people don't expect him to. After sitting behind Quinn Ewers for 2 seasons, 2025 will be Arch's first real chance to start at Texas. Would he really leave after just 1 year as QB1? Historically, the Mannings are careful, deliberate. Peyton stayed in college an extra year, so did Eli. Even Browns owner Jimmy Haslam doesn't think Arch will come out in 2026. He's on the record saying he bets Manning stays in school for 2 more years. But here's where it gets juicy. Haslam loves Arch Manning. According to ESPN Cleveland, he's a huge fan, and Colin Cowherd has highlighted Haslam's deep connections to the Manning family. So if Arch declares, the Browns will be all in. Just imagine it, Arch Manning, the prince of football royalty, suiting up for the most quarterback-starved franchise in NFL history. A team so cursed under center that it's almost mythical. From Tim Keich to Johnny Manziel to Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson, the Browns have tried everything. But Arch Manning in Cleveland? That would be cinema. The kind of drama only the NFL can write. Still, there are big ifs in this story. First, the Browns have to be bad enough to land the #1 pick. With a quarterback room featuring Pickett, Sanders, Gabriel, and Flacco, it's not impossible, but it's also not guaranteed. Second, Arch has to declare, and based on everything we know about his family, he might wait, but the NFL changes everything. One electric season at Texas, a Heisman run, maybe even a college football playoff berth, that could change the calculus in a hurry. Third, even if Arch declares, would he want to go to Cleveland? Remember, this is a Manning. Eli famously forced a trade from the Chargers to the Giants back in 2004. Could Arch pull the same move if he lands in a spot he doesn't like? But let's flip the script. What if Manning sees Cleveland differently? What if he wants the challenge? What if he's the kind of player who doesn't run from adversity? He runs at it. That would make for one of the greatest redemption arcs the NFL has ever seen. A city that suffered for so long finally gets its savior. A fan base starved for stability finally gets a quarterback who stays, who wins, who leads. That's the dream. But the reality? We're a long way from that story. For now, Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel are battling it out in training camp. Kenny Pickett is looking to prove he's not a bust. Joe Flacco, the veteran, is providing leadership and maybe a little magic. But behind the scenes, the Browns' front office is watching, waiting, evaluating. Because if 2025 goes south, if the quarterback play is flat, the offense sputters, and the losses pile up, Cleveland will be right back in that familiar spot, staring at a top draft pick and wondering, is this the year we finally get it right? And if Arch Manning is on the board, don't be surprised if they take the swing. Because in the NFL, one player can change everything. Just ask Kansas City. Just ask Cincinnati. Just ask Houston. The Browns don't want to miss again. They've missed enough. So if the opportunity presents itself, don't be shocked if they bet it all on Arch Manning. It might not happen, but if it does, get ready for one of the most fascinating storylines in NFL history. If you loved this breakdown, hit that like button and smash the subscribe. We've got more NFL drama, QB battles, and draft bombshells coming your way. Comment below. Do you think Arch Manning will save the Browns or skip them entirely?